Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive.
Hmm.
Today, we're looking at something I think we can all relate to.
Hmm.
Where we live.
Yeah. Big topic. Yeah.
It's one of those things that you don't really think about too much, but it really affects every part of your life. And we've got some really interesting material that breaks down village life versus city life.
Really interesting.
And I think in this deep dive, we can kill two birds with one stone here.
I like it.
Not only can we learn a little bit more about these different lifestyles and what they offer,
Mm-hmm.
but importantly, for you, the listener,
Right.
you can learn some new vocabulary,
Sure.
some English words, some English phrases.
Absolutely. Because that's what we're all about here, right?
Oh, Hugh.
Helping you expand your vocabulary. And I think using these contrasts, these comparisons between village life and city life is a really, really practical way to do that. Think about the words that we use every day to describe where we live and just the surroundings, the environment. So this deep dive will help you understand and use those words more confidently.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean,
Mhm.
they really presented this concept in a way that I think even beginner English learners can get a lot out of.
Absolutely.
And to start things off here, our source asks a really simple question. Do you live in a village or a city? And if you do, why?
I like it.
What are the reasons behind that preference? So let's kind of unpack what a village is.
Okay, so our source defines village as a small community in the countryside. Really, the key here is that it's away from the hustle and bustle, all the business of a city.
Right.
And it's typically surrounded by nature. You think of fields, maybe farms where food is grown, rivers, forests, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a much more natural environment.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, the source points out some really interesting vocabulary, I think, that goes along with village life.
For sure.
And the first one is cattle.
Oh, yeah.
So these are farm animals like cows and buffaloes that you'll often see just grazing in fields. Have you ever seen cattle?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very common sight, in rural areas.
And speaking of the rural areas and being out in the fields, the next word that the source brings up is harvest.
Oh, yeah.
This is the time when farmers gather their crops.
Yeah. A really important event in village life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you think of any crops that might be harvested in your region?
Think about that for a second.
So another image that often comes to mind when we think about like a traditional village is a thatched roof.
A thatched roof.
Oh, yeah. So this is a roof made from dried grass or straw.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a common building material in the past in many rural areas.
Yeah. It really kind of evokes that classic image, right? Of
Yeah.
what a village might look like.
You might still see them in some places today.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we have the paddy field.
It's a paddy field, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a special kind of field where rice is grown.
Okay.
It's usually flooded with water.
These are a really distinctive landscape, these paddy fields, especially in rice-growing countries. Have you, the listener, have you ever seen a paddy field or a thatched roof in person?
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
And then one more important word here that the source mentions related to village life is well.
Oh, the well.
So
Yeah.
this is that deep hole dug into the ground
Yeah.
to get water.
Oh.
And in many villages, especially before modern plumbing and things, wells were the only way that people could access fresh water.
Yeah, I mean, essential for life, really.
So these are just a few key English words that you might encounter when we're talking about village life. Now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the city.
Okay, the city. All right, so the city, according to our source, this is a large, busy place. Think tall buildings reaching for the sky, skyscrapers,
Skyscrapers.
big shopping malls,
Right.
crowded streets full of people, full of cars.
Yeah.
Life just moves faster in the city. Generally, there's easy access to modern facilities. So when we say modern facilities, think good hospitals, lots of shops, lots of entertainment, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So just like villages have their own special vocabulary, cities also have some unique words that are useful to know.
Right. So we've already mentioned skyscraper, that very tall building. I mean, you think of a city skyline and you think of skyscrapers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's the subway.
The subway. So this is an underground train system, and it's a really popular way to travel around the city quickly.
Avoid all that traffic.
Yeah, avoid that traffic.
Have you ever ridden a subway before?
Yeah. That's quite the experience sometimes.
Speaking of traffic,
Oh, the traffic.
we have rush hour.
Yeah, rush hour.
This is something that anyone who lives in a city knows about.
knows all too well, yeah.
It's the busiest time of the day when people are going to work,
Yeah.
going home from work,
We're trying to, right?
and the roads are just packed, bumper to bunker. Our source actually asks, have you ever been stuck in rush hour traffic?
I mean, who hasn't at some point, right?
It's a very common city experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And then similar to the subway, we have the metro.
The metro. So yeah, this is another word for a fast train system,
Okay.
for public transport in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes metro refers to an underground system.
Yep.
Sometimes it's above ground, depends on the city.
Right.
But the key idea is that fast, efficient public transport.
Yeah, okay.
And then, of course, just walking around the city, you are going to see lots of pedestrians.
Right.
That's a simple word for a person walking.
Just a person walking. So now you have kind of this basic understanding of what a village is, what a city is, and some words that are used to describe them.
Yes.
So let's look at what makes each of these environments so appealing, starting with the village.
Okay, so one of the big draws of village life, according to our source, is that peaceful environment.
Yeah, peaceful environment.
Less noise, less pollution than the city.
You can really find that sense of calm and quiet.
And going along with that peace and quiet is fresh air.
Absolutely fresh air.
Yeah.
With fewer cars and factories, the air quality is just so much better.
Yeah.
A lot of people find that really, really appealing about living in a village.
And as we mentioned before, villages are really close to nature.
Yeah.
You've got the green fields, rivers, beautiful landscapes. It's just a very different kind of daily life that you experience there.
Yeah, definitely. And our source even mentions simple life as an advantage.
Simple life.
A slower pace of life.
Right.
Less pressure, less stress than city.
Yeah. And then, for people who like to eat well, village life offers healthy food.
Yeah, healthy food.
Easier access to fresh produce, fresh milk.
Straight from the farm, straight from the garden. Yeah.
And I love the English idiom that they throw in here.
Ooh, an idiom.
A breath of fresh air.
A breath of fresh air.
Okay.
So this means something new and refreshing.
Yeah. For example, you could say, after working in a noisy city for 10 years, moving to the quiet village was a breath of fresh air for me.
Yeah, that's a good example. Have you ever had an experience where just changing your environment was really revitalizing?
Yeah, I think we all have. And that's really what that idiom is getting at, is that feeling of renewal.
Yeah. And going back to what you prefer, our source asks you directly, do you prefer a peaceful environment or a busy city life?
It's an important question to think about.
Yeah. Now, let's look at the advantages of city life.
Okay. So thinking about opportunities, cities often have a lot to offer in that regard. And one of the big advantages, according to our source, is better education.
Better education, yeah.
Cities usually have more schools, more colleges, more universities, more variety, more choice.
Yeah, and kind of following that same thread is there are more job opportunities in the city.
Oh, absolutely.
So many businesses, so many industries, so much, much more choice when it comes to finding work.
Yeah, more competition too.
And then, there's the modern facilities.
Some modern facility.
More hospitals, more shopping malls.
Better public transport.
Yeah, things that really just, if you live in a city, you take them for granted, but they make everyday life so much easier.
Yeah, definitely. More convenient.
And then there's entertainment.
Oh, the entertainment.
So many choices when it comes to
Endless possibilities.
cinemas,
Restaurants,
all kinds of food, parks, concerts.
Yeah. You name it, the city's probably got it.
Yeah, there's always something going on.
Yeah. And of course, fast internet. I mean, this is a big deal these days.
Oh, yeah.
High-speed internet, much more readily available, more reliable in cities.
Makes communication easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the source gives us another good idiom here related to city life. The city never sleeps.
Oh, I like that one. The city never sleeps.
So this describes a place that's just always active, even late at night.
Right.
For example, New York is famous for being called the city that never sleeps.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever been to a city that felt like it was constantly awake?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a different energy there.
Yeah. And our source asks, what do you like most about city life? Is it the opportunities? The convenience?
Maybe the entertainment?
Maybe the entertainment?
Yeah.
But of course, both village life and city life have their downsides.
Their downsides.
So let's explore some of the challenges, starting with village life.
Okay. So starting with the village, one of the challenges that the source points out is that you might have limited facilities.
Limited facilities.
So fewer hospitals, fewer specialized schools, fewer big shopping centers.
Right.
less choice, basically.
And when it comes to work, fewer job opportunities.
Yeah, that's often a big one.
The source mentions that many people might rely on farming,
Mm-hmm.
which sometimes can limit career choices.
Yeah, deco.
And then, in some villages, it can be a challenge with slow internet, slow technology.
Oh, the dreaded slow internet.
The connection's not as fast or reliable as in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even access to the latest technology is more difficult.
And getting around can also be tougher. Transportation problem.
Transportation, yeah.
So fewer buses, fewer trains.
Yeah.
Makes it difficult to travel, especially if you need to go long distances.
Right, right. There's a really interesting idiom that they use here to describe this.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the times.
Behind the times.
Which means, not modern, not up to date.
Yeah.
You might hear someone say something like, the village is beautiful and peaceful, but it feels a little behind the times when it comes to technology.
Yeah. It's that feeling of being a little bit stuck in the past.
So have you ever been in a situation where you felt like things were a bit outdated?
I think we've all been there at some point. Maybe you've traveled to a more remote area, or maybe you've just encountered a system or a process that hasn't quite caught up with the modern world.
Right, right. And our source asks, have you ever had internet problems while you were in a village?
Ooh, a very relevant question.
And if so, share your experience down in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, let's look at the flip side, the challenges of city life.
Okay, so city life, despite all the good things it offers,
Right.
it definitely has its drawbacks.
Yeah. And one of the most common ones, I think we can all agree, is traffic jams.
Oh, yeah.
Just so many cars, so much congestion,
Endless traffic.
getting stuck in long delays.
It's just part of daily life for so many people.
And all that activity, everything going on,
Yeah.
it contributes to noise and pollution.
Yeah, definitely.
Cities tend to have just much higher levels of noise, from traffic, from construction,
Crowds of people.
from crowds of people,
Oh, of course.
and of course the air pollution from factories, from cars,
Yeah.
all of that.
Another big challenge, expensive living.
Expensive living.
Things like rent, food, transportation.
Right.
Way more expensive in cities.
Yeah, you really feel it.
And that fast-paced life, it can lead to a stressful life.
Stressful life. Yeah.
Busy schedules, competition at work, constant stimulation.
Yeah,
It can be a bit overwhelming.
it really can. There's an interesting idiom that the source points out here.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
A rat race.
The rat race.
So it describes a way of life that's very competitive and stressful,
Mm-hmm.
where people feel like they're constantly just trying to get ahead.
Yeah. Just running on that treadmill.
So, for example, you might hear someone say, city life, it feels like a never-ending rat race sometimes.
Yeah. Have you ever felt that way about living in a city?
And our source asks you, do you think that city life is too stressful?
A good question to ponder.
So we've really kind of gone through the advantages and disadvantages of village and city life.
Yeah, both sides of the coin.
And, our source wrapped things up by saying that each lifestyle has its own pros and cons.
Yeah, for sure.
It really comes down to what each individual values, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you love peace and quiet, if you love fresh air, being close to nature, village life might be the better choice.
But if you like those modern facilities, job opportunities, lots of entertainment,
Yeah.
then city life might be more appealing.
And the takeaway, I think, is that there's no one right answer.
Yeah, exactly. There's no perfect lifestyle.
That depends on you.
Yeah.
What are your personal values? What are you looking for in your life?
Now, to help you remember all this great information that we've just discussed and to give you a chance to practice your English a little bit, our source has a little quiz for you.
All right, quiz time.
Quiz time. So, question number 1, what is a paddy field?
Paddy field.
Think back to when we were talking about village life. Can you describe it?
Yeah.
Even better, write your answer in the comments below.
Ooh, good idea.
Let's see what you remember.
All right, question number 2. What does the English idiom, the city never sleeps, mean?
The city never sleeps.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah. Think about the characteristics of city life.
Try to explain it using different words if you can.
All right, question number 3. Can you name one advantage and one challenge of city life?
City life, yeah.
We discussed several of each,
Right.
so pick the ones that stuck with you. Jot them down if you need to.
And finally, the last question. This one's a bit more personal.
Certain.
Would you prefer to live in a village or a city?